Here.
Director Stewart.
Here.
Okay, please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's getting warm in here.
The Board Secretary.
This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item not on the agenda regarding district business. State law prohibits the district from taking any action on any items not on the agenda unless authorized under section 54954.2 sub B of the Government Code, and your matter may be referred to General Manager. An individual may also address the board on any agenda at the time the matter is discussed and prior to board consideration or action. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Your time will start when you approach the podium, and you'll be given a 30-second warning before your time expires. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by the board will not extend your time. Questions may be referred to the General Manager to be answered at a later time after the meeting. In order to allow for a smooth and orderly meeting and allow each speaker the ability to address the board, disruptions from the audience will not be tolerated and you can be asked to leave. We appreciate your cooperation in this democratic process.
Okay, at this time we will open the floor to public comments for non-agenda items. And also keep in mind that members of the public, if this is a regular, treat it as a regular meeting, so during the interview process, if you have a comment that you want to make, you'll be allowed to make it as well. So at this time, any public comments? Okay, then we will close public comments. And what I would ask is that all the candidates, if they could come up here to the front row, and so that way when during the interview and everything, if you could approach the podium, that way it can be on the record. I just want to announce that this is to fill a vacant seat vacated through the passing of Director Rosamond, and this seat will run through 2020, December 2020, when after the 2020 election. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all three of you for taking the time to put in for this vacant seat, and I applaud all of you for considering serving your community in this capacity. And with that, we'll move on to item A, interview the candidates for board vacancy. And I'll start to my left with Rick. Let you start with asking some questions.
Well, I just want to tell you guys thanks very much for stepping up to the challenge, and so I can focus on taking notes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, change in protocol, Director Webb. Okay, what we'll do is, we'll call each candidate up, we'll ask them questions, and then the other candidate will be called up to be asked the questions, and that way we can make it an individual interview. So, let's go ahead and start with Mr. McKay. You approach the podium, and then we can go ahead and start with the questions.
Okay. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing super. How about yourself?
I'm well, sir. I do have a question, Lizette or Greg, either or. Are we picking a question, or we're just running the order of the questions?
Just whatever.
Okay.
Go right. Start from the top. Go to the bottom.
Okay. Mr. McKay, good morning again, sir. First question I have, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you've been here for a long time, past board member and all that, but perhaps when the people aren't familiar with you, could you tell me a little bit about who you are, about yourself, please?
Okay. I came here to the area in January of 1974. I was in the Air Force. I retired from the Air Force in 1981. I went to work for Los Angeles County Safety Police I retired as a chief one in 1997. I joined the Kern County Reserve Deputy Program. I served 23 years, gave them 23,000 hours of voluntary time here. I was a designated level 1 reserve deputy. That means I had the full police powers as a regular deputy. I joined the board, I was elected to the board in 1984. I served until 1996. In 1984, I was also elected to the California Special Districts Association board. I served there until 1996. I was elected to be the treasurer, the vice president, the president. I was also elected to be the president, or actually started out as the treasurer of the California Special Districts Finance Corporation. And from there I went to the vice presidency, and then from there I went to the presidency of the organization. So I have both local and state experience.
Well, I'm good.
Okay. You want to start with the next question again?
Yeah. What do you consider to be your best strengths and weaknesses, and how would they align with the current board?
My strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah.
Okay. My strength is I like to get the job done. And, you know, one of the things that I can look back on, you know, the boards that I've served on. In 1996, when I was lost the election, the board left with $12 million in reserve. And when I lost the election this last election, we left with $1.2 million in reserve. And so the strength is I like to help the people to have good finances.
I've sat next to you for 4 years and I've read your resume, and I don't have hardly any questions except to ask you, do you have any questions you want to ask of us that are in the back of your mind? You feel free to, okay.
What are your thoughts about our current budget and financial statements?
I haven't seen your current financial statements, so I couldn't comment on them. Hopefully that you're following the budget that the board set up for you before, because it was a good budget.
Let me ask a question of you, sir. What do you believe the district's priorities should be in the next 5 years? What do you see, or would you see as the district's priorities in the next 5 years?
Okay, could you ask that question again, please?
What do you believe should be the district's priorities in the next 5 years?
My priority for the district would be to serve the people of the community, to do the things that the people in the community want.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Well, follow-up. Okay, I can understand that, but a lot of times people elect us to do the job, and it may not be the most popular job. So you said, are we having the community run the district? Are we running the district for the community? Could you kind of clarify that for me?
Well, I think you were elected to run the district for the community. But I think you also
I know
have
what I'm saying. You said that twice now, for the community. What does that mean for the community? Is this things that we're going to make life better for them, or things that they're telling us to do?
Well,
Could you give me some clarification there?
one of the things that I think that you need to do is provide them with safe drinking water. Okay? And at a reasonable rate.
What is your opinion on how the district is doing?
I think the district is doing great.
What do you believe are the top 3 concerns of RCSD?
Well, the first one I would take into consideration would be the adjudication. The amount of water that you're about to receive, you have to go down to. So my thing would be is to find the best way to provide the water to the district.
I have a follow-up. Do you think it'd be pertinent right now to go out and purchase water rights, or should we bide and wait until see where when you start needing them, what the price is at?
Right now, if you go out there and looking for water rights, I think you're gonna find out that the water rights are high because people think that, you know, that have the water rights have a basket of gold. And in a few years, that basket of gold is gonna diminish and the rates are gonna come down and you'll be able to buy them cheaper.
Okay, Rick?
So that's number 8, I get, right, number 8?
7. Oh,
Yeah, number 7.
number 6.
No.
No, I did number 6.
Number 6. Okay, number 7.
Mr. McKay, it says, how do you think the board's expectations match yours? And the expectations, since you've heard some of ours beginning, if you don't know all of them, that's fine. Could you just tell me if you know some expectations we've been talking about, you can address those, or do you have expectations as a former board member that you'd have to see the district moving forward with, you can address those for me?
Well, my expectations of the board would be to secure water rights for the district so that we can have the safe drinking water for the community at a reasonable rate. And from what I understand, you guys are doing a good job in that.
Okay.
Okay, how does the current term of the position fit in with your other responsibilities?
I'm retired, so it would fit in perfectly with mine.
Why do you believe we should select you to fill the board vacancy?
Because I have the experience and I ran for the office.
I have a couple of follow-up questions, and I'm going to ask this of each of you. One is, why do you want to serve on the board?
Why do I want to? I want to help the people of the community.
And what is your vision for the RCSD?
What is my what?
What is your vision for the RCSD?
To continue doing the good job that the boards have done in the past.
And that's all the questions I have. Anybody else have any other questions?
Well, Mr. McKay, is there anything you'd like to, I know you've been a past board member, I know you have experience at the state level with special districts. What do you see, or as a board member, past board member, what did you see that the board, the community, what can we do as an agency that you see to improve the way we do things moving forward? I know you have a lot of experience. I know I read the resume. You're very knowledgeable from the educational side, from the district side. Small districts, which we are. How do you see us fitting into as dynamics continue to change in the water world? We're going to change. What did you see the board as a whole, all of us? How do you see us addressing that moving forward?
Well, I would say addressing it moving forward, that you get as much education as you can from the different agencies, like the California Special Districts Association or ACWA. Go to their conferences and you can network there, and you might see some things coming down in the future. You wonder how the small district is going to do it, and as you go to these conferences, you can network with people, and just about any problem that you can come up with, somebody else has already solved it, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other follow-up questions? Okay, I've got one thing that I'm going, every time I've conducted an interview, and this will be given to all the candidates, but I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us, anything you want to say to us as a board or as an agency, or anything that you feel that can, your chance to bring it home.
Okay. The only thing that I would say is I believe I have the ability to work with all of you and to accomplish the goals that we set as a board.
Thank you, Mr. McKay.
Thank you.
And start with the first one. Tell us about yourself.
I'm a 25-year resident of Rosamond. I'm also a 29-year employee of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, in which I spent the past 13 years as a regional district manager involved in conveyance and distribution. That covered reservoirs, our distribution system, and our treatment plants.
Okay. Rick?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm looking at some of the information you have here, and so we can share with the public. The question is, what do you consider your best strengths and weaknesses, and how do they align with the board? You briefly touched on them, but is there any other things that you do? Because I know you from a while back, you do a lot of different things. Tell me about outside, you gave me the information on your water side, what you can do. Are there any other things that you do outside of this that makes you a good candidate?
Outside of my expertise in water,
utility side stuff.
well, I've been very involved in the community. I ran the youth football program out here for 5 years. Gave me an opportunity to get involved with the community and a little understanding of how the community functions and the people in our community. My strength, as I said, as a 29-year employee of Metropolitan Water District, I have expertise in a wide range of areas: budgeting, managing people, infrastructure reliability, capital improvement projects. I've worked very closely with the management team at Metropolitan Water District, bringing people together. I think that's one of the things that was really strong at Metropolitan. I had one of the strongest crews in terms of the camaraderie and the willingness to work as a team with others.
What are your thoughts about our current budget and financial statements?
I don't really have an opinion about your current budget. I don't know a whole lot about it. I thought it'd be a good idea if I came in not knowing or having opinions of anything, developing a 360 panoramic view of everything that the district is involved in, what their needs are, what their concerns are, what the budget is like, and from that point, I can start to determine an opinion about where the district is. But currently, I haven't really followed. I've been so focused with duties at Metropolitan Water District. I've recently retired in December, and now I want to focus that energy that I had at Metropolitan and help our community and share that vast knowledge that I have with this community.
Byron?
You've been in the community a considerable amount of time, and you've been involved with lots of young people and all of those kind of things. Not just today, but as a general impression, what have you heard in the community about Rosamond Community Service District's effectiveness, purpose, all of those kind of things? I know it changes as over 29 years, but what's your general, if somebody was to ask you what's your general feeling about the reputation of the water and the sewer in Rosamond? A lot of people maybe don't even have an opinion about the water or sewer, but...
Well, that's the thing about people. Everyone has an opinion. So if you look throughout the community, I'm sure you will find various opinions of what they think of the Rosamond Community Service District. If you look at it from a factual perspective, I think you guys have done a very solid job. You have vision, which is very important for the future of our water rights in the community. So I think you're a solid organization. I think you have a lot of experience. It's a diverse group. I think by me being appointed, I will strengthen because of my experience in fresh drinking water systems, budgeting, and every aspect of managing an organization. I'm familiar with it.
So what I heard was that there are opinions in the community, but then there's the facts. And sometimes those don't,
Yeah.
those don't line up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I try to stay clear of one's opinions and stick more to the factual aspect of information.
Thank you.
What do you believe should be the district's priorities for the next 5 years?
Transparency is very important. Community involvement, finding innovative ways to bring the community so that we won't have negative opinions and we will have factual opinions of what's going on. Throughout social media in our community, I've noticed that people have opinions and they're not always correct opinions. I've spent probably the last 4 months attending your meetings, and I've cross-referenced what I've heard in terms of opinions as opposed to what you guys are trying to accomplish, and they don't line up.
I gotta follow up on that. Do you think what do you think of the current way that we are communicating with the public with our lack of, trying to think what not outreach, what's that thing called? Public affairs.
Public affairs.
With us not having a consultant anymore for doing our public affairs, how do you think we are getting our message out there?
I think you guys have an excellent web page. It's very informative, it's up to date, it shares information, and it gives the community a resource to find out what's going on with the Rosamond Community Service District. So I think you guys are doing a very good job with that. You're pointing in the right direction. I know this is a new board, but I like what I see in the board, and that's the reason why I want to become a part of the board.
Okay, I guess you kind of answered number 5. I guess number 6, right?
Yeah.
And what do you believe to be the 3 top concerns for the district? Either that you see currently, I know you kind of understand the whole dynamic of water, either currently or it could be coming down the way.
Number 1 is to continue to maintain a safe, reliable water system to the community in an economically and environmentally safe manner. Transparency among actions in the community, and as you mentioned, outreaching out to the community, because I really think it takes the community as well as the board and the employees of the Rosamond Community Service District to make it a successful operation. Everyone needs to work together cohesively to achieve that.
Along with that same line, just like I asked Mr. McKay, how do you feel? Should we purchase water rights now or wait until the ramp dam is finished and we need them?
Well, I'm not very familiar with those specifics. I will share with you, as a former employee of Metropolitan Water District, it's very important to have vision and to work down the road for issues that may arise today. So if you're always looking down the road at what needs to be done, I think you'll be safe in that regard.
Okay, Larry?
How do you see Rosamond Community Service District in relationship to the Southern Kern Unified School District, the MAC, and the Chamber of Commerce? We all seem to be doing our own thing.
Right.
How do you see maybe all that coming together?
Well, my unvarnished opinion is Rosamond Community Services is pretty much our city hall. You guys have a lot of responsibility over our water rights, our sewer, our street lights, a lot of things that work in our community. I would like, as a board member, to help bridge the gap. I don't think there's a lot of conversation and cohesiveness among the Kern County School District, the Rosamond Community Service District, and the RMAC. So one of my goals, if appointed, is to bring them all together, maybe establish a workshop where we can put on the table what our concerns, our needs, what is the future of Rosamond, and work together to achieve that. Because we all are here, not for ourselves, but for our community.
How do you think the board's expectations match your expectations?
I think we're on an even par. We're all here, as I mentioned, to provide a reliable water system in an economically, environmental manner. I believe that. I'm confident that you guys believe that. You in particular, Mr. Wood, have a lot of experience in water. You know the ins and outs of it. You know what is needed to be successful in the community. So I just want to be a part of it.
Okay, Mr. Washington, if you want me to come back to it, I will, but I think the question is, how does your current term of the position fill your, when you already said you're retired and you're available, if you want to address that even more.
Yeah, I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit
So
more.
let me give you the full question.
Okay.
How does the current term of the position fit in with your other responsibilities? That's part one. And then part number two, as mentioned, this seat terms out in 20 is because I think at one point we looked for continuity.
Right.
And is that something you think about in the, I mean, of course you don't have to answer that now.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking at. But something, consideration down the way, because the more continuity we get moving forward, you brought up a lot of things about transparency, involvement and all of that. If you keep getting the board every other hour, you don't get that. So
Right.
with that question there, did you get the gist of it, or I can read it again to you, or you get with the...
Yeah, could you repeat it
Okay.
again?
It says, how does the current term of the position fit in with your other responsibilities?
It would be something I would be very excited about. As I said, I come out of a high-pace environment at Metropolitan Water District. I just recently retired in December. I still felt as though I had a lot to give to that company. I had a lot of energy, but at the same time, I felt like it was time to move on and do something else with my community. I want to be someone that, when I leave this earth, I was here for a reason, that I did something good in the community. I'm retired now. I currently sit on the RMAC. I'd like to sit on the Rosamond Community Service District. With those two positions, it will help me to bridge the two agencies together and roll my sleeves up and really get involved. So I'm 100% committed to giving my best to this Community Service District and the RMAC.
Okay, I'd like to follow up on that one part there. I was gonna bring this up a little bit later, but
Yeah.
due to some information that came in actually yesterday, that there is a conflict exists between the RMAC board and the RCSD board. And if you're selected for this, would you be willing to voluntarily step down from the RMAC board?
Well, I probably wouldn't have a choice if I was appointed as a Rosamond
Yes, you
Community
would.
Service.
You would
I
have
would.
a choice.
Well, I would love to work in both organizations. I really would. I'm scared of boredom. I don't want to sit at home every day and do nothing. I want to get involved. I want to roll my sleeves up and do some work, and I have the ability to do it. I have 100% confidence that I can do my duties with the RMAC and the Rosamond Community Service District, attend meetings that are necessary to attend, and give 100%.
But sir, the question was, if selected, would you be willing, because our legal counsel says that there's a potential for the council to come up, is that something you'd be willing to do if you were selected?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Ben, you wanna take the next one?
Why do you believe we should select you to fill the board vacancy?
Because of my vast knowledge in the water industry in regards to distribution systems, water treatment plants, water reliability, budgeting, managing, understanding capital improvement projects, equipment, procuring procedures. I think the past 29 years has really groomed me for this position.
And do you have any questions of us?
No, I don't.
Rick, can I finish up one last one? I'm about to ask this to all of Mr. Washington. I asked the other candidate, I'm going to ask all of you. How do you see the district, yourself as a potential board member, how do you see all of us moving forward with understanding the adjudication, the dynamics of the district? How do you see us moving forward? What's some of the things that do we look towards the future for?
Well, based on attending the last few meetings that I have, you guys are moving forward. You have vision. You have understanding of what we are facing in the next 4 or 5 years. So I feel very good about the direction you guys are going in, And as I mentioned, would love to be a part of it. With my experience, I think it would only strengthen the board and the community as well.
I think you've already answered the two questions that I asked Mr. McKay of why you want to serve on the board and what is your vision for the RCSD. Does any other board members have any other follow-up questions? Then the last one would be, this is your time to bring it home and
Okay, I think I've kind of touched on it. I've brought a couple, a professional reference and a community reference. And I think with the two, it kind of details who I am, my passion, and what I'm about. As I mentioned, I've recently retired. I don't want to stay at home and do anything. I've been a homeowner for 25 years here. Not only is that my investment, but that investment is in the community. Therefore, that's part of the investment. So I want to not sit at home, but get involved in this investment in our community and make sure that it's vibrant, we have reliable water, and that everything is working the way it should in our community.
okay, thank you.
Okay, I also have a couple, as I mentioned, references
Okay.
I'd like to share with you guys.
Could you give them to,
Here we go.
All right, Mr. Luperoth.
Good morning. 9 years. I worked aircraft, flight tests all over the place. My last job was with LA County Sanitation, where I dealt with a lot of fleet stuff, sewer cleaning and maintenance, plant maintenance, assisted with plant maintenance and sewer cleaning. And I'm just here to try to help the community.
Okay. Rick, you want to take the next one?
what do you consider to be your best strengths and weaknesses, and how do they align with the current board?
The current board, I think, is doing a great job. And I've always been a good community organizer as far as communicating with people on both sides. I think that would help a lot. I would fit in well that way.
What are your thoughts about our current budget and financial statements?
I'm not that familiar with the current budget and financial statement, so it wouldn't be fair to try to comment on that.
These are you're gonna get questions from me that are very unusual and maybe not even fit for print. Did I ever have to come to your home?
No.
Do you want to explain that so that they understand?
I've known Byron for a very long time. He was one of my teachers through school and everything, and so some people got visits at their homes from him.
Let me explain it. I deliberately did not write referrals on my students. I went to their home if I thought I was going to have a problem with them. And I told them that at the beginning of school. And then I deliberately went to several homes just to prove to them that I would do that. And it's much better than a referral or a parent conference to actually go and knock on the door and visit the homes. I probably went to 35 or 40 homes every school year to the parents, and I don't remember all of them. That's why I asked him if I ever had to come to his home. No.
If you did, I wouldn't be here now.
I told you my questions are not going to be too normal for him.
Okay, I do have a comment about that. Byron, how many students in this community, now he's pretty mature, okay? So.
I was 10 years old when I.
Oh, he's up to you. We'll leave it at that.
Okay, Rick,
I just said that one, so it'd be you.
Actually, I did number 3, so you're number 4.
okay, what do you believe should be the district's priorities for the next 5 years?
I think securing water is a big one right now. And also making sure that the treatment plant's expanded. Any improvements that go on out there need to be capable of handling future growth in this town. and obviously communication with the community.
Okay. Rick?
What is your opinion of how the district is currently doing? How do you think the district as it sits now, how are we doing, sir?
I think they're doing okay right now. I think that they need to step up securing water for the future before that demand comes high and we're paying a lot more for water. I think now would be the time to start trying to buy water.
Byron?
I've been impressed with the qualifications of all three men and their experience. And sometimes that can be a problem. A number of conferences that I went to, and as Ed referred to it, you get educated at conferences and seminars. And I heard more than once, the worst board member is an engineer. Now, they qualified that afterwards by saying, you'll hear from an engineer, you know, we pay an engineering company to put something together, we pay the staff to put it together, and then the report comes to ours, and an engineer might tend to start trying to find holes in that report and say, well, in my experience, this is the way, and they said that's one of the biggest weaknesses of having, it's a strength to have people with experience on the board, but it's also a weakness if they have that narrow, closed vision. You've had experience in a sewer treatment plant. Are you familiar with ours, and how would you deal with when an engineering company came to us and said, this is what needs to be done? Would you say, let me look at it and examine it, or would you want to start trying to find the holes in it? To some degree, people do that to show what? To show their knowledge. And I feel for all three of you, because the worst thing I'd like to do is stand up and try to sell myself to somebody. That is so uncomfortable for most people to do. But would your experience be a benefit, or what? We had one director, Kim Lord, who worked, he wasn't on here too long, just a couple years, but he worked for AVAC. And I know there are lots of times he could have sat up here and said, that's not the way we do it at AVAC, but he didn't. You know, we would talk about it, but he didn't bring that up. But could your experience be a problem or an asset? How do you see it?
I think it would be an asset, because if we're looking at something like that and I'm not sure that it's going to be good or right, I know people that I can contact that are experts in that field that could give me some advice and maybe help the district in the long run. Maybe go a little different direction. Maybe what is proposed is the best way to do it. But if I'm not sure, I'm going to try to find the answers, and I have some connections. I have people I can bounce ideas off of and see what they think.
Thank you.
How do you think the board's expectations match your expectations?
Well, I think the board is looking towards the future of this community. Securing water, sewer treatment is a big one, and communicating with the community. You know, no matter what you do, you're gonna have people that aren't happy. But somehow you've got to try to meet in the middle and present yourself that you're doing the right thing and explain it to people. And I think you guys are doing a pretty good job of that right now.
Rick?
How does the current term of the position fit in with your other responsibilities? I know all you guys are very fortunate to be retired. So how does your current scheduling life, whatever, fit in with what goes on here?
It wouldn't be a problem at all. I just live right down the street, and I need something to do on Wednesday nights.
Why do you believe we should select you for the vacancy?
Because, well, I've been in this community for a long time. I know a lot of people. I know what a lot of the complaints are in this community. A lot of people in this community have bugged me to do exactly this for years. Tommy used to do it. And I'm finally at the point where I think I can spend the time to try to make a difference.
And do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any.
I had one more question. This is a memory question. Okay?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what grade I gave you? I don't remember.
It was all A's.
It was all right.
Of course it was, of course it was.
Can I ask one last question? How do you see the district for the future, where we're at now and where we're getting to? How do you see things that you see could be added to what we're doing or hold what we got? As a board member, what were some of the things that you could see yourself advocating for?
It's hard to say right now until I got into it a little bit more. But I know there's going to be some sewer treatment plant issues that have got to be addressed just with growth that's going to be coming to this community. There's some stuff there, and like I've been saying, we've got to secure water before the price goes up.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Gary, this is your chance to bring it home.
I just think that I want to try to support my community by being on this board and do what I can to help both sides, the board and the community. And I've got the time now to do it, and I would be interested in going to all the different conferences and stuff that I could go to obviously learn more and get better ideas and meet people that you can draw information from. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question that I would like to ask all of the candidates, and it's just a yes or no question. And it's a non-committal question, but I would like to ask each one of you that when this term expires in 2020, would you consider running for election, standing for election again to maintain the position?
I would.
I would.
Yes.
And with that, we
Can I make a closing comment for myself? Hey, all three of you, I know all of you folks, and thank you very much, because the hardest thing to do is to walk in front of people you know and tell them what you want them to know about you. So, been there, other places and done it. I sincerely appreciate that, and I think it shows that despite whatever set of circumstances you retired people have, you guys still care enough to give back. So I appreciate that one. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say this is going to be a hard decision because I think all three of you have strengths in different fields. Mr. Washington with his water experience, that's awesome. Just looking at the things looks amazing. Gary, I look at him and I see experience in fleet, hometown pride, sewer maintenance. That's something we need as well. And your history, your knowledge of how we got to this point is highly desirable. Knowing the history and how we got here, if you don't learn from the history, you're destined to repeat yourself. So having somebody that knows how we got to this spot will always help us go into the future. So this is gonna be, and honestly, this is a hard decision. If I had a three-sided coin, I might have to flip it, but I appreciate you guys applying and trying for this. It means a lot.
Byron?
I've already mentioned that I think all three of you are impressive, and all three of you, any one of you could probably do a very good job sitting in this seat. But I want to drive home these points. Sitting up here is an honor and a privilege that the people of Rosamond give to you. And I know it's very difficult to stand here and try to sell yourself. And when you run for office, it's very difficult because that's what you're doing. Trying to tell people how good you are or why to vote for you. I know that's very difficult. This community has been divided by misinformation in the past. I pray that that division has come to an end. The last election showed a clear separation between the candidates. I was elected to this board along with Greg Wood in 2004 when there were 2 open seats. And I've been re-elected every 4 years up to today. I've served through the administration of 6 general managers. I've served with 14 different elected directors, Russ Williford being one. I was not impressed with some of those elected directors. However, I have developed great trust and confidence in Russ. Russ has set a high standard for his replacement. Russ has set a high standard for his replacement. I look forward to working with the individual that is selected.
I would like to, again, extend my congratulations and gratitude to each one of you for coming in to be considered for this position. Each one of you are excellent, excellent candidates. You bring impeccable credentials, desire, passion for the community, passion for the people of this community, and to see what is, and to be a positive impact. And along with Ben, it's going to be an extremely hard decision because any one of you will make a great director. And so it's going to be a tough call. But I listened to all 3 of you, and Ed's got a lot of strengths. Greg has got a lot of strengths. And Gary, you have a lot of strengths. And I mean, you all bring a different, and this is going to be tough. And with that, if there's no more comments from the directors, we will go ahead and close the interview and move on to item B, to action to fill the board vacancy with a term that expires in 2020. At this time, I'll open the floor for nominations.
I nominate Gary Lukeroff.
All right, so we have a motion for Mr. Lukeroth, and we have a motion for Mr. Washington. We get a second for either one of them.
I second Mr. Washington.
Okay, we have a second, we have a first for Mr. Washington, a second by Mr. Washington, and a first for Mr. Lukeroth, and so at this point, we will call for a question on this, unless there's any other discussion. Okay, all in favor of Mr. Washington?
This is a roll call or just a straight vote?
Roll call? Okay, all in favor of Mr. Washington for, to fill the vacancy?
Director Webb?
Aye.
Director Glennan?
Who did you say?
Byron Glennan?
No. I didn't know if you had said my name.
Director Stewart?
Aye.
President Gregory Washington?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, and
Congratulations, sir.
congratulations. And at this time, can we swear him in? Swear. Not
Swear.
We're not gonna, last time we'll swear at you, okay? Unless we're in closed session, then we'll do it more.
Sworn in on Wednesday's meeting.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Swear in.
Or can he be sworn in?
So we're gonna have an English lesson, then we'll have a
This will
meeting
be
here, yeah.
official, and then we can get the documentation to officially
Okay, so he can't be sworn in at this meeting, he has to be sworn in at the next Wednesday's meeting.
He can be sworn today, I just don't have a paperwork.
Can I ask a question though? Because of some of the dynamics we're working through, you're a certified CPA,
Notary.
a notary.
I can do it as a board secretary.
Okay, okay.
Then let's do that. Can we swear him in, then he can take his seat, and then we can adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we recess for like 2 minutes? I'll go get
Yes.
the language.
Let's take a 2-minute recess. Mr. Washington, you come forward. And,
Okay.
no, you need to come down here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm new at this. Oh, right here, okay.
Right here. Okay. You're gonna repeat after me.
Okay.
I,
I,
Gregory Washington,
Gregory Washington,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of California,
of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge
the duties
the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Last time I've done that, it was when I got married.
Please take your seat.
Mr. President, I want Greg sitting next to me at home telling me. You're gonna be bothering me.
I'll say this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. For you,
Oh, you want good socks?
I wore good socks today.
And with that, we will come to the most important part of the meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move.
Would you like to second the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, motion was made by Director Stewart, seconded by Director Washington. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We adjourn at 11:02.